All right, so welcome everyone to Intuitive You, and I'm just so happy that if you guys are either listening to this recording or hopping online, just to get the message of love. And so today's message is about really facing our fears with love. So whatever is happening in your world, I know there's so many different things going on in the world, probably within and around us all. And as we are confronted with those different fears, whether they can be internal beliefs or certain things about our world, how we face them is the reality we create. And so, as I was talking with my guides this morning, they're like, just face your fears with love. And, the Intuitive Success Club, for those of you that know about it, is always about creating from a foundation of love. So, to get into that place within us that is our soul, that is resonant to that place of love, is really where our empowerment is. So, I invite everyone listening to just take a few moments to close your eyes and just center your awareness in your heart. And as you do, I just invite you to visualize this white, brilliant light at the center of your heart. And from that place of your heart, allow just pure unconditional love to fill your body, to fill your aura, which is the energetic space around your body, and then just to extend into the universe. So all the edges and corners, notice how they even start to turn into infinity. And you just expand into this infinite love. And then I invite you to imagine roots growing up the bottom of your feet, energizing you from the earth all the way up, connecting you to the top of your head, and then just circulating from head to toe. Just breathing in that energy, pure unconditional love. And then once you feel that center point of your heart, you can even ask your heart what it has to tell you. So sometimes it helps even to place your hands on your heart so you can actually feel the presence of love. And I talk about your heart being the gateway to your intuition, right? So this is the first step to open up into that soul's intuitive wisdom. So just see and ask what your heart has to tell you. You might have an inner voice, or you might want to write it down and just notate what that is. And then I invite you to just imagine this spiral of white light going down from your heart to your core, a couple inches below your belly button. And there you can just visualize just a golden, orange, yellow light, just connecting you with your second chakra, your feeling center, your intuitive knowing. And just feel the presence of truth within you. And let's just take a few deep breaths there together. Breathing in, inhaling through the nose, and then exhaling through the mouth. And as you feel that presence of truth, you can feel the state of groundedness, the state of being fully in your body and connected. So feeling that truth within your body. You can ask yourself any question that you might want to know. So really we're accessing the inner wisdom within you. So go ahead and, if you want to think of a question, ask that center point, that intuitive knowing within you. And ask, what truth does your soul have to share? So as you pass through your heart into your gut, you're connecting with the wisdom of your soul. So ask, what does your soul want you to know? And again, trust the answer that comes through you. It's clairaudience is what it is. And people think it's so hard to access, but the truth is it's so easy because it's already within you. So trust what comes through and you ask the question, what does my soul want me to know? And hear that inner voice respond to you. You're communicating with your soul. If you want to write it down so you can reference it later or take an action step, I invite you to do that as well. If you want to share it in the chat, you're welcome to as well. And just notice how it feels when you connect to the wisdom of your soul. It will be resonant. It will feel right. So kind of if somebody's ever told you a lie or something's been untrue, that you can feel it in your body, like, that's not really true. It's the same for truth. You can feel the resonance of like, oh yeah, that does feel right. And maybe in the moment your mind doesn't understand, but your body knows. That's why I take you through these just 3 simple, easy steps of moving from your head to your heart to your gut. Because within you, the embodied presence of love tells you the truth, right? With a lot of my students, I teach like the red light, green light. So with the Intuitive Success Club, we talk about, basically finding this resonance. And as you're walking down a path, is it a green light? Is it a yes, it feels right? Or is it a red light? Like, doesn't feel right. And sometimes you don't have to know why something doesn't feel right. I remember, God, it was years ago, but I was walking around the bay in San Diego Mission Bay, and somebody just called me out of the blue, and she was kind of like, you need this, like, da, da, da. And I was like, no, actually I don't, right? It was just this deep knowing, like I didn't even need to hear anymore. I just knew. Right. And similarly, I've heard stories, and I know for myself, intuitive yes decisions can be like, I just know I needed to move here, or I just know I needed to connect with this person, right? Like I'll have clients call me like, I just know that I need to work with you. So that knowingness is what is your own soul's wisdom. It's so sure, it's so true, and it's connected to that infinite part of you. So again, I want to invite anybody, if you want to share in the chat, I'm still working with this to make sure I understand it. Right now it says it's a private chat, but if you want to try typing something in there, I will definitely look for what you're saying to make sure it's working and to also serve you. So I have that open now. So I'll keep it open. All right, so now that you know at least 1 or 2 things probably that your soul has to share with you, the question is, what are you going to do about it now, right? The action piece. So, when I started my company, I was 19 years old, and I just knew that I needed to take action to make it happen. So I always had, since I was in high school, this dream of building a wellness center. And so as I was taking my NLP training, my neuro-linguistic programming training, I thought to myself, oh, wow, I can do this. So it started with my intuition, knowing. Then it was a belief in myself, which is another thing we teach in the Intuitive Success Club, is matching our beliefs with what our intuition knows, right? Because we need to get our mind on board. We want to have the congruence of our body, our mind, and our spirit. So today we're talking a lot about spirit, and then I'm going to invite you to move into new positive beliefs for yourself that will align your mind, to then inspire your body to take action, right? So, as I was sitting there in class, right, just this like 19-year-old on the edge of my chair, just so excited to learn more, thinking of these, dreams of this wellness center, my belief, which is really just a positive thought, actually could also be negative, but a belief is a thought connected with an emotion. And you can all think about that. Anytime you've had a thought with an emotion, you have a belief, right? You believe that about yourself and the world. So in that moment that I was sitting there, I thought, oh, yeah, I can do this. And I felt all this excitement, like all this positivity. And so that positive energy, so you want to go for the beliefs that make you feel good, right? Because typically the beliefs that don't make you feel good aren't even true. So, like, you could say, I don't even want to say it because it hurts to even just say something negative, but just know if something is making you feel bad and it's not aligned with love, it's probably not the truth about you. Okay. So, for now, just because it feels so much better and I want to get you on this path of feeling good, ask yourself, so what is true about me? So as you're thinking about whatever your dream, your intention is, your next thing you're wanting to create in your life, ask your intuition to show you and tell you the positive thought, the truth about you, that also connects with a positive feeling. So, for example, I'm thinking, I can do this, makes me feel positive. So I know it's in alignment with love and my intuition. Any fear that I could have had about it was just kind of like nullified because in the presence of love, fear disappears. And then that excitement, it was almost like an exhilaration, right? Like in my gut, it was just like, phew, like, yeah, I know I can do it. Like, I am the fuel, I am the source to do this. So, as you're thinking about this positive thought connected with this positive feeling, I invite you to bring your thumb and your first finger together. And what this is doing is it's anchoring the positive feeling in your body. And your body is going to resonate to truth because it feels good. Good. And then you can release it. You only need to hold it for 3 seconds. So, that is your new belief. So, now the next step is to bring that belief into action. So for me, I didn't just sit there. I spoke my truth. So I actually went to the founder of the school and I asked him, I said, hey, would it be possible for me to trade massage services and yoga training for you and your girlfriend to have that office that was like maybe 2 or 3 blocks from the beach? And he said yes. And so here I am with this full-on office in a beautiful building in the heart of San Diego, believing and knowing that my intuitive success coaching process would change the world. Like I knew that people had the answers within them. And I knew that as they stayed in this presence that I was holding for them of unconditional love, that they had their answers, that I could see their soul gifts, and that I could show them how to break through their subconscious blocks to living their dreams. So with that knowing, I spoke my truth, I took the action. He said yes. Then I did practical steps. I'm like, what do I do now? And one of the people that were working there at the time, her name's Janice Erickson. She's still a dear friend of mine. I said, what do I do next? And she's like, well, have a mission and vision. And I'm like, oh, that's easy. Like a wellness center that, expands everybody, helps them be happy and fulfilled in their life. So I got the root, right? The root of what I wanted to do. And then I took the action. I built the website. I started creating brochures. I did whatever it took to connect to the people that I was meant to serve. And as I did, clients started to come, right? And because I had such a solid trust in myself, because I was connected to my own intuition, when people would say things like, did you get a degree for this? Or, what are you doing? Like, what do you even charge? And ironically, I left a scholarship because I felt like this was even more important. And I felt like that was a round peg in a square hole for me. And so I confidently could say, no, actually, I don't have a traditional college degree for this, but I trust so much. Why don't you come in for a session? This is what it costs, right? And then people came because I believed. And some part of them knew that I could help them. So I remember, like my first client, sitting there, and it was so fun to create the office space too. That's one of the things I share in the Intuitive Success Club is you want to create the space, right? So I created this beautiful space. And as that client was sitting there, I thought to myself, okay, so the universe brought you to me and I to you So therefore, I know that I know what to share with you, because you wouldn't be here if there wasn't something that I could give you, right? And so I trusted that part of me, just like I guided all of you through earlier, that knows. And so then I became the channel for them, and they became the channel for them to receive their soul's highest wisdom. And then, like we go through in the Intuitive Success Club, I was able to break down their barriers and help them shift. So, with that, I actually want to invite you. We're actually creating probably a new page for this, but something really exciting is happening in our company. So, I'm not sure how many of you guys have been following me or for how long, but we have our Life Force Connection company that's been around for about 18 years. So, been teaching this intuitive success coaching process and the certification program now. And that is for people to monetize their gifts, create, the soulmate they want, the lives they love, step-by-step process that guides you through fully embodying your intuition, breaking through the blocks, and manifesting that life you love. So as an expansion of that, probably 3 or 4 years ago, I started something called One Heart Global. And I thought to myself, well, if I can do this for adults, I could also do it for kids. And one of the visions I also had when I was in high school was working with children. And significantly, I remembered that they had darker skin and we were building something. So I knew it probably wasn't in my own country, but that I would be going somewhere. So as my life just unfolded and I built the Wellness Center and became an author and speaker, it just naturally expanded into a certification school. And so it started in person and then it went online. So as this expansion was happening, I started getting these visions of these kids again. And I thought, oh, wow, I'm going to do retreats in other countries. And I'm going to go there and I'm going to go to orphanages and I'm going to give this work of intuition to children for free. So what I did is I took the first part of our Intuitive Success Club called the Intuitive Factor. And anybody that wants to go to our website, if you go to lifeforceconnection.com, under classes, you will see the Intuitive Factor. And so what it is it's an awakening and an activation at each of the 7 main chakras. So as you do that, you become the embodied expression of your soul's purpose. And so what we did, and actually Cy Pilkington, my business manager at the time, did this with me, is we would land in these different countries. So the first one was Thailand. And so we built the 7-day retreat where each day we'd have an activation. So we'd do the meditation, the activation, and then we would go on different excursions throughout the day in that country, right? Which is so cool if you think about, because every place, the land has its own energy, right? Like, for me, the past life of working on the land in Thailand was just, for another student, she connected with the energy of Kuan Yin, which is the goddess of compassion, right? So different things would just start opening. And so as the students and we were all feeling these activations on the land, we were guided, right? To the point that I was so connected to my intuition that I didn't even know the orphanage that I was going to work with until I got there. And it happened to be, there's a video, I don't even remember her name, but I have it on my YouTube channel if you go to Abby Gooch. It was at Nayang Beach Resort is where I'd stayed. And I think it was Peony Cafe. I almost want to say her name was Yang. Anyways, all I remember is I was having breakfast and this woman came up to me and I said, hey, I'm teaching this retreat on intuition here, and I really know that I'm meant to serve children in the orphanage. And she was like, I know exactly where to send you. There's an orphanage here, right? So again, our intuition is always guiding us and was guiding me beyond what I could understand. I had so much faith that I didn't even know the how until I got there. But I trusted her. She took me to the orphanage. I think it was like 20 or 30 miles away. I met the kids. And funny, ironically enough, I'm just now thinking, part of the organization was founded by some Australians, and the people on our One Heart Global board right now, Michelle Jones is a huge part of our organization, and she's in Australia. So I think it's pretty fascinating how things start to work. But anyways, once I got there, I was able to connect with the kids, read them books. My mom had written a book called It Was My Star. It's really beautiful. I believe you can get it online. And, I read that to the kids and played soccer and just really interacted with them. And, as I felt that connection, I would be teaching them even just with the energy, right, of how to connect, and they would teach me. And so that was the first orphanage we worked with. And then I thought, okay, where's next? Like, that feels complete. What do we do next? And so then the next one was Bali. And so Sai at the time had said, hey, do you want to go to Bali with me? And I was like, at first, no. But then it was a yes. And before we got there, there was another organization that had about 150 kids. And I did connect with them before we got there. So once we got there, we started with that orphanage. And then once again, we taught the retreat. And then we were guided again to yet another orphanage. So that happened when we were just walking around. For those of you, if you've ever been to Bali, they have these great little shops and you just want to walk around. So we walked to this shop. I remember they had like beautiful earrings, and part of the earrings were donated to this other organization. It was another orphanage. And so they let us there. So then we went to another one, and we were able to full on start teaching the full intuitive factor, program as much as we could before I just was pushing my body too much and had to go home. But we started it, right? And so that was really the opening and the birth of One Heart Global. And so a couple of years later, it was like, where do we go next? And Oneness Talk Radio, which is obviously the station I'm talking on now, I had a connection with somebody there, and they actually put us in touch with the orphanage we work with now. And that orphanage, man, it's been so incredible. My dad and I went there in March of 2021, just a few months ago or several months ago. And we were able to work one-on-one with the kids. We taught the full intuitive factor process, and our dreams came together, because our goal for One Heart Global has been to build an orphanage, a full-on school, and that's exactly what they want. So what we're doing now is, for everybody that joins the Intuitive Success Club, so again, you can go to lifeforceconnection.com under classes and click under the Intuitive Success Club, and you can apply and register there. For each program, so each person that signs up for that, we donate that same program to one child. So for every program sold, we gift that to one child. In addition, we take 10% of that for now. We'll probably do even more later, but even just 10% is enough to keep their current building and start building an orphanage for them. So we are so excited to be able to offer that. And I just invite you, or anybody that feels called to really live the intuitive path and to open up to this wisdom within, to start monetizing your gifts, or even just manifesting a life you love from this place of your own soul's wisdom, to release the blocks that once stopped you, and to really just take a stand for love, to be the change. I was going to read the mission for One Heart Global, but what I'll do is I'll just invite you to go to the site. So if you go to www.oneheartglobal.co and you click under mission, you will see our vision, our mission. And what it is it's to completely become that embodiment of love, to love those that have hurt us, to be the light, where it's burned out in some places, and to really rise above each and every situation, so we can see the higher truth and we can see into the heart of the matter. So I invite you, all to visit that. And on that mission page, you'll see different pictures of the kids. There's a video at the bottom. At the very bottom, you'll actually see me teaching the kids in Ecuador. So that's super, super fun. All right. So that is really my dream, and you're a part of that. So our goal is for you to be living your dream. And as you do that, you support us when you become a part of the community, the Intuitive Success Club, to live ours, right? Because it's just a full circle give back. So just wanted to mention that this morning. And then, going back to the theme of today, any fears that you might have, I invite you to just write those down now or think about them. So let's just list those. So just take a few moments, like 30 seconds or so, actually, to feel into what your current fears are, so we can just bring them to the surface and, like I said, face them with love. So I'll just kind of breathe with you. Whatever those fears are, just let them rise to the surface. And as you become aware of them, we're going to move into that intuitive success coaching technique I gave you of, let's just say, connecting to your core. So bringing your awareness from your head to your heart to your gut. So connecting to your core, facing your fears with that light of love, with that truth, that soul's wisdom. First of all, ask yourself, are those fears even true? Because often fears are just thoughts, that can scare us, right? So when you first resonate into your gut, you'll know if they're true. Good. And once you get the confirmation of it being true or untrue, you obviously know the truth. But notice what fear is probably not true. So, for example, this is just what comes to mind. So, like, for me personally, like, I have a very thin body, like, I'm very fit. So, if somebody was to say, or my thought was to say, I'm fat, it's not even true, right? Another example could be like, I can't do it, or I'm not smart, right? Also untrue. So, any thought that is causing you pain and then comes in connection with your intuition will often be nullified and released just by the presence of your intuition. And what's so powerful about intuitive success coaching is you have access. I just gave it to you, how you can access the truth within you. So no matter what anybody says, no matter whatever thoughts, like Sonia Choquette is somebody I trained with for a long time, and she talks about it as psychic riffraff, just the thoughts and the frequencies that come through. A lot of them aren't even true. So whatever that fear is, the other thing I'm hearing is fear of the unknown happens a lot, right? Like, ooh, I don't know exactly. Like, I kind of have a sense, but I don't know exactly how it'll work out. So what you can do is find certainty in each moment. So even in this moment, you can feel, what do I know to be true in this moment? In this moment, I'm connecting with Abby. In this moment, I can feel my own intuition. And then it's just taking that next step where love has paved the way before you, where it feels good. I think we might have talked about that last week, or I talked about it last week, where your intuition is going to guide you towards what feels good. It's not going to guide you towards something that doesn't, right? Because you're born to feel good. You're born to have joy in your life. You're born to have peace and happiness. It's only moments that, I know for me, I can't speak for everybody, but I'm pretty sure we've all had moments of trauma or disconnection from love. So healing is actually about restoring the presence and the connection to love. And that's why I say intuitive you is about healing and then creating the life you desire. So once you restore that connection to love, accessing your intuition, then you connect with truth. Like we talked about earlier, what's my next step? How do I create what it is that I want? And the other thing, I really do invite you to go to the Intuitive Success Club, because this is where you're going to get the activation. But like I shared, the visions started coming to me. So when you activate your chakras and go through that process in the club, you're being shown, your soul can show you that vision, right? And then when it feels right, you take that step, right? So again, it's like, if you think about yourself connected, I don't usually use this word, but like what's coming is like the cosmos, right? The infinite space of the universe that has an intelligence that, like a spider's web, kind of connects everything together. So even what can be considered like a heartbreak, like One Heart Global happened when, I released a partner that I was with, right? And supported him to reconnect with one of his children that he hadn't seen for years. And the way I actually healed through that was to turn to compassion and love. So I used the energy of what felt hurtful to actually ask myself and God, how can I move into a higher state of love? And in doing that, like you'll see on that oneheartglobal.co website, I said my heart broke into 1,000 pieces and spread its light across the world. So instead of, feeling upset for too long, I thought, wow, my heart just broke open and has this much more light to give. So what experience in your life or challenge do you possibly have that is opening your heart, that maybe is even causing pain, to open you up so you can actually see more, so you can be more loving, right, to yourself and others, and to have the capacity to know that there is greatness within you. And as you access your intuition and act on it, it becomes your reality, right? And I've done it for myself. I mean, in relationships and living situations, all of it, it works. So just trust me when I tell you it's one simple step. And each moment being guided by love, each moment trusting your intuition. And, recently I had a client, she was, I think, one of my first clients in the Intuitive Success Club. And God, I just adore her. And I remember, giving her advice because she, like me, was very much like, oh, just love, love, love. And that is still true. And beyond even your heart, our experiences, when you move into your gut, you get that deeper level, right? Because that gut knowing is the highest and best for you and everybody else. So for me, I can continue, and I have loved people even when they hurt me over and over and over. But then there's a certain point where my gut said, no, that doesn't serve me now. So I'm going to move into a higher level of love. So that's what I mean by each step going from your head to your heart to your gut, because that is going to be the highest and best. It's fully embodied, right? Your heart is the gateway. Your gut is the opening to your soul, to that infinite wisdom. So make sure you walk fully through that doorway, and you don't want to skip the step of your heart. You don't want to go from your head straight to your gut. It needs to pass through your heart into your gut. And then you become that embodied expression of love. So I want to thank you all for being here today. Again, if you're feeling guided to be a part of our club, you can go to lifeforceconnection.com, click under classes and Intuitive Success Club, and help us fill these 21 spots. We're so excited to be able to help build the orphanage and just see, where your soul is calling you and who you want to share this with, right? And as you open up to that pure love and pure guidance of your soul within you, it will continue showing you the way. So have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye.